I think from the time you get off of the elevator and walk down the hallway to the room is one of the longest walks you ever have to take. There are a lot of unanswered questions that they're depending on you to answer. What are the results? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do to make her better? What's going on? When these kids get diagnosed with cancer, you know, you hear it takes a village to raise a child. It takes an army to take care of a child with cancer.
You can't think about yourself. You can't think about your other children. You can't think about your husband. You can't think about your dogs and your cats at home. All you think about is that child that's laying in the bed that is sick and you cannot fix it.
Many times the family, right after hearing this very distressing news, has to uproot and go to do whatever they need to do. And so we are so grateful that there are organizations that do things so special, like provide a place for them to live while they're out of town.
When Colette was 2, we noticed that she wasn't eating and that she was not a playful little 2-year-old. I knew something was wrong. I had a gut feeling that there was something wrong with her. So in May, I called my mom, who lived 2 hours away, and asked her to come bring us back to the nearest larger city and have her taken to the hospital.
When I found out about all of this, I immediately quit my job and just gave up everything and went on with Tammy because I knew she was going to need me.
I remember very well that night. It was around 9 o'clock at night. We had been waiting all day to get the results of the CT scan, and it was hard to understand what we were looking at. What it showed was a mass in my daughter's stomach when she was 2 years old, that it was the size of a grapefruit.
Colette had a very aggressive tumor, so her treatment had to be very aggressive as well. She had surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, bone marrow transplantation, all of those things. We talked about options. I knew she needed care very quickly.
They told us we would have to be away from our home and away from our family for up to 100 days after she got out of the hospital.
And then, just like that, they had to start planning. Okay, we've got to go out of town. How are we going to travel? Where are we going to stay?
The stress of just going in and having treatment and going from one doctor who's saying, okay, well, you got cancer now, and then all of a sudden you're all right, well, where do we go? You know, what do we do?
We were really concerned about how in the world we were going to find a place to stay.
Of course, we can't afford to stay in a hotel. We didn't have any family there, and we were just trying to hang on to the faith that we had that something was going to be provided and taken care of, because we didn't know how we would manage.
Well, we have the whole team here, and we're really looking forward to our new family coming to live here in our open arms home. Back in 1994, Mid-America wanted to give back to the community. A group of employees came up with the idea, thinking, why don't we do what we do best and offer homes to people in need? So they decided to provide homes to families away from their home who are seeking medical treatment and are in need.
Whenever I arrived at the hospital in Birmingham, and it was on the cancer ward, it was on the oncology floor, where there were about 12 children receiving chemo or recovering from surgeries, I felt there was a cloud over that area.
We had gone back so many trips to and from Mobile and then to the hospital. When it came time, we were really concerned about how in the world we were going to find a place to stay.
Because, you know, I was working 40+ hours trying to make ends meet, trying to pay all the bills, support Tammy, you know, with gas and going back and forth.
We were trying to call around and make hotel reservations, because sometimes you can get a discounted rate because of your situation. And our social worker called us, and she said that they had keys for us, that our apartment was ready early, it had already been cleaned, and they were waiting for us. And they actually had balloons for Colette, and they had gifts for her, and keys for us. That was the thing we were looking forward to. And they explained to us that this was all available through a charity called the Open Arms Foundation. And I had not heard of this foundation yet, But I was soon to learn that they provide housing for families just like us, close to these locations of the hospitals where we have to be treated.
One of the great things about Open Arms is there is no lengthy qualification process. We've had families here of all walks of life. We've had children stay here. We've had people of all ages. We receive support from so many people. They want to help. They want to be part of what we can offer. We also receive donations from vendors who come to us just asking, what do we need? They provide monetary donations, some have provided furniture, but it has actually grown into a large organization that is now nationally recognized. Our families are always so surprised when they walk through the door and they see a fully furnished home, everything from linens to dishes and silverware in the kitchen. The only thing that they need to worry about is getting to the home with their suitcases and taking care of themselves once they're here.
I didn't know what Open Arms was. The place was just, it was beautiful. It was on top of a hill. You had a view of the mountains right there in Birmingham. I was just, my mouth, you just had to pick it up off the ground because it was like, no.
When we walked into the apartment, it was like I walked back into home because there was furniture, there was a couch, actually in the colors that I like. There was a couch, chairs and coffee table. There was a dining table with chairs. And then the bedrooms, both were fully furnished with beds and dressers. We finally could take our clothes out of a suitcase.
But whenever I saw linens in the closets and I saw dishes, nice dishes, not just pieces of junk, matching sets, and all these pots and pans all matched, and everything was so nice and so well cared for. And I just thanked God, and I thanked Him for giving us people that reach down to people they don't even know and love them.
It allowed me to drive up there and, be at home. I mean, it's really just, you have no idea, what it truly means, in my heart. And I just thank you.
Meeting little kids like Colette, who come in really sick, for me, is the true reward for what I do. She is doing all the things other normal children are doing now, back to her old self. She plays normally. I'm sure she and Bryant wrestle at home and get in the spats that siblings do. There have been many challenges in her care, but obviously, as you can see, there have been many triumphs too. And it's just wonderful to see her return to that.
I learned a lot of things about devastating illnesses. I learned a lot of things about how people deal with that. I chose to have hope. Even if they told me that my daughter only had 1% chance, that's enough for me. I'm gonna fight tooth and nail so that in the end, I know I have done everything possible. Even though my daughter's cancer survival rate is only 45 to 55% chance at 5 years from diagnosis. We're already halfway there. And as far as I can see, she's gonna be here a while longer, but there's no promise in tomorrow. I would rather know that she might not be here and do everything I can to spend as much time as possible so I have no regrets. And I don't have any regrets.